And good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of the Grimaldo Group, where we love helping families create wealth through home ownership. And today, again, with me is Juan Grimaldo, the one and only. How are you, Juan?
Terrific, Angel. It's a great afternoon.
That's awesome. And today we're going to be talking briefly about renting versus buying. I think that's a subject that we never stop talking about. What do you think in general? What are the benefits or the differences renting versus buying real estate?
Well, at this time, Angel, we've been hearing a lot about, the market, people waiting for the right time, right? Because the prices are adjusting, which is it's true. We've seen that a lot. But regardless, do you think people are still paying rent? And would that be, I say, put that instead of renting it, they could put that money into their own investment, which is paying their own mortgage.
Well, definitely. I think there is a time when someone has to rent, maybe because their finances are not in line or ready to purchase real estate. So there is a time for that. But I think that it should not remain as such forever. You have to have a plan because every time you pay your monthly rent, you're in essence paying someone else's mortgage. It's not working in your favor. It should be a short-term plan and then begin to focus on planning for a long-term commitment, which is real estate.
For sure. They actually, when we first moved here, funny story. We used to live in a little. One of my friends rent us a room, and we slept in a twin bed, my wife and I. So a couple months later, we moved into an apartment, and we set out our goal. We said, you know what, 3 years we're going to live here, and then in 3 years we're going to go and buy our home, and that's what we did. So it was always in our heart to own our own place, and again, it feels good to be able to paint your room.
Yep.
To hang whatever you want, so you don't have to worry about the landlord. Having a pet, which I think is a big deal, right, for a lot of people.
Oh yes,
you love your pets.
Correct, I do.
Right.
I don't have to pay a pet deposit. So when you're renting, you want to, and trust me, I think you like tenants, do you not?
I love them. They pay my mortgages.
When you have rental properties,
Yep.
We love tenants. Don't get us wrong. But at the same time, we want to send a message out there for those of you that have been renting for quite a bit. The benefits of owning outweigh continuing to pay rent. So again, if you're going to buy, yes, is it uncomfortable? I was speaking to a couple recently and they said, Angel, this is overwhelming. We've seen multiple houses with you, 8, 9, 10 houses.
Yep.
And we're getting tired. And then the fact that we have to have a deposit, we have to have the earnest deposit, the down payment, and get the financing in order. And yes, is it uncomfortable?
Very.
But is it worth it?
It's worth it 100%.
Because if it is also uncomfortable to pay rent, and when the landlord tells you, hey, your lease is coming up to an end, you gotta vacate because I need the house.
Yep.
And now you got to go back out there and find a new place to live.
Yep.
Okay. And it's not easy to find a place to go rent.
Especially now, there's so many people moving here from other places, willing to pay higher rents and willing to pay, a little more for a house because where they come from, these prices are actually great. So, Angel, you talked about discomfort by paying your rent and by paying a mortgage. They're both uncomfortable. One of the things that kind of opened up my eyes and kind of punched me in the gut when I was 24, I was working at a bank, and I think I told you guys the story before, but this couple came in to open an account, and I was a banker at that point, and we sold investments, we sold, financial products, and home equity lines of credit. So I asked these questions, right? Do you own a home? No. Do you have money set aside? No. They're like, you know what, Juan? The only reason we're here is we want to open an account so we can get our Social Security check of $650. And that's it. We want to get direct deposit. And I'm like, so you don't have you don't have a home? No. And I got curious. I'm like, so how much do you pay for rent? $600. Mm-hmm. I was so scared. I told my wife, you know what? I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to get to 65, 62 years old when, people expect to retire and not being able to retire. Just imagine, do you think these people have to work the rest of their life to keep making that rent payment?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So if they would have made that choice to purchase that home at a younger age, which especially you guys that are younger,
Yep.
that have that opportunity, that are working. If you work, you have 2 years of taxes. If you're straight out of college, you can qualify right away. Get into a home, start
Yep.
investing, paying that mortgage down so that when you get to that age where you retire, you don't have to buy a home out of necessity.
Correct.
What do I mean by that? People are buying a home because they cannot afford the rent.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart, dude, because that's why we do these things. Yes, this is a business. Yes, we do make money when we sell a home. It is the byproduct of what we do. But most importantly, the reason we want to do this is we want to help people out and put them in a better financial situation, because in our culture, I'm Mexican American. I was born here. I grew up in Mexico. I don't know anybody that is teaching anything or anybody about how to create wealth,
Yes.
how to be financially free. And we have those tools, and we have more resources at our disposal that we would love to provide to you guys.
Yep.
So, Angel, this subject is dear to my heart for that reason, man.
Oh yeah, it's dear to my heart too, because I have family that I know that are in their 60s now, and can't find a place to live.
Yeah.
And so we talk about homelessness. We talk about the social injustice. We talk about the stuff that's happening in society in general. But I think a lot has to do with lack of planning way in advance.
And
This-
information, because a lot of, and again, there's so much out there, right? Right now we have so many social mediums that we can, I guess, present this information, but it is up to us to take a moment and listen.
Yeah.
Or read or whatever. I mean, this is freaking easy because you don't have to read anything. You can just listen, right? But this information is out there. And what Angel's saying is like, this is it. You guys have to pay attention and plan. But in the meantime, make time for that too.
Well, again, one thing that concerns many folks with purchasing versus renting, they say, what if all of a sudden after I buy, I am left without a job, Angel? And I said, well, what happens if you're renting and you're left without a job?
Yep.
Okay. Whereas if you have a property, God forbid you lose your job, but let's just use this scenario because it was brought to my attention. So instead of renting, if you're renting and you lose your job, you get evicted. You have to go elsewhere. You have to maybe go live with mom and dad or somewhere, uncle, cousin, sister. If you're buying and you have purchased, and God forbid, same scenario, you lose your job, at least you have your property that if you were to move with someone temporarily, you can rent your existing home and have someone else pay for your mortgage until you fix your finances. Or depending on the scenario, okay, you can potentially get a home equity line of credit, or maybe refi the house and potentially get some money against it out of equity to, hold you over. There's more options with home buying than just continuing to pay someone else's mortgage. So the question is, would you rather continue, if you're renting, would you rather continue paying someone else's mortgage, which in this case is your landlord, or would you rather pay yourself your mortgage for your future? That is a question.
Yep. And most people think, you know what, I don't want the responsibility or the burden of owning a home because then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Well, I think that's everything in life, right? And it's, for me, again, it's dear to my heart because when I was a little kid, we didn't own a home here in the States. I mean, my father had his home in Mexico, but here we didn't. So we rented and we had to move every single time. He's like, I'm never going to buy any furniture. I don't want to break it because every time we move, because we were moving constantly, right? Due to the fact that we didn't have a home. And like Angel's saying, when you own a home, let's say things get tough, you lose your job, whatever, you can sell your home.
Yep.
And you can tap into that equity that you have. If you purchased a home in the last 2 years, you still have equity. Yes, the prices are adjusting, but still you're gaining less. You're not losing money. You're gaining less.
Well, I just encourage folks, if you were to focus on the positive rather than always looking for the negative, what you focus on expands.
100%.
So right now, some folks say, well, the prices are dropping. Yeah, but they may be dropping. If they dropped 5%, 10%, but 2 years ago to now, from 2 years ago to now, it's gone up like 40, 50%, depending on what neighborhood you bought.
Yep.
So if it goes down 5 to 10%, okay, now your equity is 30% from when you bought maybe 2 years ago.
Yep.
So you still have equity. There's a lot of equity out there, and there are people that are happy about it. And then folks that are looking at the negative saying the interest rates have gone up. I don't want to buy now because I'm waiting for the interest rates to drop. Well, the interest rates drop, the prices are probably going to go up. That's a pretty good chance. So the question is, should I continue to rent and pay someone else's mortgage for years to come? Each time that I pay the rent is money that never comes back. Or should I pay my own mortgage? That is the question I want to leave you guys with. I hope you can reflect on what we spoke about today. And again, if you would like more information regarding this subject, please feel free to give us a call. Again, here at the Grimaldo Group, we love helping families create wealth through homeownership. And thank you so kindly for spending these few minutes with us.
Thank you so much. And if you want just a little tidbit of information I was going to share, but we're running out of time. The rates in history, if you go back in time in the 80s, the rates were at 16%. The average rate's been 7.8%. So that's why I was looking away. And I'm sorry about that, but the rates are not bad at all. And no matter what, I mean, you need a home to live. Most people, I think we all got distracted with the fact that the homes are now investments. There will be an investment in the future, but as of right now, you need a place to live. You would be paying your own mortgage, which eventually will drop and your debt will lower, and then your equity increase. Your payment will be low. In 10 years, you're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm glad I did it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, we're here as a resource. And if you guys have any topics you guys would like us to talk about, we'd love the opportunity to share that with you. Thank you so much.
And God bless.